prioritizing strong, not skinny. And I think that overall health is super important for midlife women. Weightlifting, don't be afraid to get into the gym and lift heavy weights.
Welcome to another episode of the Operator Mindset with Howie Zales. I'm your host, Howie Zales. Today's guest is a longtime friend. I think we've known each other over 20 years. Welcome to the show, Lori.
Thanks, Howie. It's always good to see you. I'm happy to be here so we could chat today.
Same here, same here. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to join us. I think we've known each other, I don't know, over 20 years since we first worked together at WWE.
Absolutely. Going back in the day, right?
Yeah, when
It's
I
been a
had
long
red hair and
time.
before you had kids. Yeah, yeah.
The good old days, right? Seriously, how did we
Yeah,
get here? I don't know.
I
Time
know, I
flies when you're
know.
having fun.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, let's talk first. Let's talk about you left WWE. I forget how many years ago now, but you became a teacher. So tell us that transition, that reinvention of yourself, why you did that, so on and so forth.
So I loved communications. It was definitely a tough field. I was working about 80 hours a week and there's a lot of travel, and unfortunately, back in the day, times were different and the culture was different. And I hate to say it, but women were often kind of not forced, but you kind of had to choose between a career and family. And I'm happy to say that times have changed now. Like you see it with human resources and hybrid schedules and being able to work remotely, that women now are more free to balance both. But this is what, 20 years ago. And unfortunately, I felt like I didn't really have that good of a balance.
Hmm.
So I had my two boys, and yeah, I became a stay-at-home mom for 6 years, and I don't regret that time at all. That was precious time that I got to be with them and raise them, and that was wonderful. But you still get that creative itch, and you don't want to lose
Right.
yourself. So I started freelance writing while I was home with the boys, and that was super fun. And I ended up publishing two children's books. So I started visiting schools and libraries to kind of promote those books. And that's when I realized, oh, this is fun. Like, I love being around kids and I want to do that more. So I actually went back to school. I got my master's in education and became a teacher. And I've been teaching for the last 13 years. So it's been a wild ride going from WWE and basically kind of being in charge of 300-pound men and then going to first grade. You're kind of in charge of 30-pound kids, but it's
Awesome.
kind of the same thing. So it's not that different, I guess.
And that's awesome. And so how long did you teach for?
So I taught for 13 years. And I'm currently in a transition period
Right.
where I love teaching and it's something that's always going to be close to my heart, but I want to make a broader impact in education. So I actually just got a new job working as an education writer for LRP
Awesome.
Media, and I'll be writing their online articles for their publication called the Special Ed Connection. So I'm excited to really dive into that and kind of spreading more of that awareness about the legalities and compliance with education for administrators and special ed directors.
That's amazing. Congratulations. When does that new job start?
Next week, I'm so excited.
Wow. Awesome.
So it just goes to show, you can reinvent yourself. You're not really strapped down to one thing. And, I think it all comes down to using your previous experience and your background to kind of get you to a new journey, a new path. And that's kind of what happened to me. And I said, it's exciting.
Yeah, and that's what a true leader does, right? Continuously reinventing themselves. not just staying in one spot, being growth minded with the ability to learn and do different things.
Oh.
You have a great social media presence. You're truly inspirational to women, but men as well. I'm talking about your fitness journey. Take us a little bit, through that.
Well, thanks, Howie. That means a lot. So after the birth of my two boys, I ended up being diagnosed with a brain tumor in
Okay.
2016, and thankfully it was benign, but I did end up having brain surgery. Been healthy, knock on wood, ever since, but that was really a big wake up call for me, to kind of get my act together and be healthy and stay in shape.
Right.
And, you get news like that, it's definitely a wake up call. So, and honestly, we did a family trip to Washington, D.C., and it was just the heat of the summer. It was so hot. And I remember walking around with my boys, and I was just dripping. I was a walking fountain. And I was like, okay, something has to change. Like, this is not good. So I wanted to lose those last 10 pounds and decided to break down and get a coach. Because for the longest time, I had just worked out at home. Back in the day, a lot of us did beach body. Now it's called body. I feel
Right.
like they're slowly kind of going away though. Now there's like so many different apps and videos that you could do on YouTube and all that. But that's where I was at. I was just kind of working out at home in my basement, doing Jillian Michaels and Bob Harper DVDs and videos when The Biggest Loser was on. And remember those? Those are so good. Um, but yeah, got into the weightlifting, but it was just, 8-pound dumbbells, 10-pound dumbbells in my basement. And then I finally got to the point where, yeah, I couldn't lose those last 10 pounds. And I'm like, what is going on? And decided to break down and get a coach. And I started going
Mhm.
to a gym. I figured I needed the education and, one, with learning all the equipment in the gym, but two, also nutrition. Nutrition is such a key part of it all, so learning macros.
Totally.
And previous to that, I had done keto. I had done the Galveston diet and I lost
Okay.
20 pounds on that. It was amazing. But once I lost all that weight and the weight came off, I realized I didn't have any muscle. And that was something women my age, I'm 50 now, I just turned 50 last year, and women in midlife, we weren't really taught that, right?
Right.
To build
Right.
muscle. We were raised on Suzanne Summers and Jane Fonda, right? With the headbands and the Thigh Master. Um, do your cardio, eat your salad. It's all about calories in
Yeah.
and calories out and eat less. But the older you get, you realize there's so much more to it, and perimenopause and menopause hits and all that fun stuff that women have to go through. And you realize,
Right.
wow, okay, there's so much more at play that, I really need to learn. So I was thankful that I found a coach to kind of teach me all that and not be afraid of carbs. You need to eat to fuel your body. She was really big into powerlifting. So she
Uh-huh.
taught me all the three main lifts: squats, deadlift, bench. And I just became addicted and obsessed. And, I just wanted to
It's super
learn.
impressive. I can't even tell you. It's super impressive. I see your social media posts and the pictures that you're posting, and I'm like, geez, that's amazing.
I'll say, it's really cool because I never thought I'd be an influencer and sharing on Instagram and Facebook. But, getting more comfortable in the gym and having your coach, I ended up doing a lot of in-person sessions with her, but then switched to her online programming. And it
Right.
involved recording yourself and uploading your videos so she could,
Oh,
comment on your form and how you can improve yourself. And I was like, you know what? I have these videos. I might as well do something with them. And I started posting them to social media. I was working with an activewear company at the time and selling activewear clothes. So it kind of tied in perfectly. And
Right.
yeah, just started sharing my videos. And I didn't think that it would get to this point, but I really do have a lot of people that reach out to me and say
That's
that they're
awesome.
inspired by me. If I could do it, they want to give it a try. You know, a lot of women my age, which is great because I really want to inspire them and get more women to like get in the gym and do it. If I could do it, anybody could do it. But it's funny, I have like 30-year-old men reaching out to me like,
That's
wow, Lori, you're
awesome.
strong. That's amazing. You know, like good for
And
you. So
you changed your Instagram handle to what?
Lori lifts heavy.
That's amazing.
That's the goal. Lift heavy. Don't be afraid, you know? I think back to my
Yep,
days in my basement where I was just lifting 10-pound weights. And, you know, my coach would always say, you're stronger than you think, you know? And now I'm squatting
exactly.
230, you know, I'm squatting what? Um, you know, I can bench 135. I just benched the 45-pound plates. That was a huge one
That's
for me. That
amazing.
was really good. Squatting 230 and I could deadlift 280. So never
It's
ever thought
amazing.
that I would be doing that, you know?
Yep, I get it. I work out with a trainer also, and yeah, it's made a huge difference in my life. And I remember the first time I went to him, he asked, what do I do for working out?" And I'm like, "Oh, I work out just about every single day. This is what I usually do." And he goes, "Up, if you're doing the same thing every day, that's your biggest problem. Obviously, you can't be doing the same type of workouts, the same weights, same lifting patterns, because then you're almost defeating the purpose." But
Yeah.
uh, prior to today, we had a phone call to discuss, just to get a little background and to discuss some questions. And I'm heavily involved in AI, and the company I work with is called Act I. So after our conversation, I took the transcript of our call and I put it into my AI agent, to my AI being, and her name is Athena. And I said, Athena, can you come up with some questions based on this call that I can ask Lori on the podcast? And so she came up with a list of questions. So I'd love to jump into those now, if you don't mind.
I love it. I love AI. I'm so here for it, Howie. I think it's amazing. I think it's such a great tool. I use it a lot.
Awesome. So, with all of your pivots, reinventions, from leaving WWE to teaching, to writing, to teaching, to now your new job and your pivot in your, physical journey. What's the one thing that's has stayed true to you?
I think the one thing that stayed true despite all of my pivots and redirection is that I love to tell myself I'm strong. You know, I'm a strong person. And I think that's key. And I think mindset is everything. That's a big hashtag that I use a lot on my Instagram reels and posts is hashtag mindset is everything. And I think that's one thing that stayed consistent with all of my different pivots and redirections is just having that positive mindset and
That's
constantly
awesome.
telling yourself, you know, I could do this, right? It's all about
Mhm.
having that confidence and those positive vibes and just that positive mindset is going to get you through, you know, through any redirection that you might have in your life.
That's awesome. Um, Now, the next question that Athena came up with is, when you were teaching and before you decided to leave the classroom, what was the defining or deciding moment that you said, this is it, I gotta go, I gotta make this change? How long were you thinking about it? What was the defining moment?
I honestly thought about it for a couple of years. For me, one, some life moments helped me decide that. You know, my kids are older, they were in college, they were heading down south to go to college. One is at ECU and the other one is at University of South Carolina. So, kind of officially becoming an empty nester is something that they don't really tell you about. And that is a very big life changing moment. For 20 years, you pour yourself into your kids and you're driving them to sports, and, everything that you do is centered around them. And they leave the nest and they take off, and you're like, oh, it's just me again, and you really have that time to kind of focus on you again. So that was kind of a life changing experience. And you're like, well, I still have a lot of life to live. What do I want to do that's going to make me happy? And I loved being with those 6 year olds and those seven, the 6 year olds, the 7 year olds. They keep you young, they keep you on your toes. But I just felt like it was time for something new and time for a change, and packed up and headed south for warmer weather and beach and palm trees. And it's kind of gotten me here to where I am now.
That's amazing.
It's all about taking
We
that
briefly,
step.
exactly. We talked about your workouts and how you're inspiration to everybody. You post your workouts, which takes a lot of courage, especially your entire journey so far. But now you're killing it with what you're doing. What do you say to women watching you or DMing you that haven't taken that first step to, get into the gym or lift the 2 pound weight just to get started?
I just hope they know that they can do it. They're stronger than they think, and for women my age, we weren't really taught to head to the gym. Like I said, we were kind of raised on being cardio bunnies and eating salad. And I think it wasn't like a lack of education. I think it was just culture at the time that, women like Suzanne Summers and Christy Brinkley, they were skinny, and that was the ideal look, But I love it now. It's kind of a women's revolution going on, and prioritizing strong, not skinny. And I think that
Right.
overall health is super important for midlife women. Weightlifting, don't be afraid to get into the gym and lift heavy weights. It's great for your body, it's great for your metabolism. You're going to build strong bones. It's going to keep you from getting osteoporosis in your older age.
Yep.
That's what it is for me. That's my motivation is I want to be that grandma who can bend down and pick up my grandkids and play on the floor with them. So don't be intimidated by going to the gym. It's like everybody had to start somewhere. So
Right.
everybody in that gym didn't know the equipment, didn't know what program to use. And I'll tell you, well, I was so intimidated when I first stepped into the gym. I was like 46 at the time. I'm like, everybody's staring at me like this is awful. But I will tell you, some of the best friends that I've made are from the gym, because they see you showing up every day and putting in that work, and everybody there is going to help you and they're going to support you because they've been there.
Right.
um, so honestly, yeah, like I've made up so many friends from the gym who supported me, who helped me out, and you just have to get over
Amazing.
that. Nobody's looking at you. They're too busy worried about their own workout and what they're doing,
It's true.
you
It's
know?
true.
Yeah. So I think you just kind of have to get over that and get in there. And once you get in there and you start getting more confident with the equipment and what you're doing, there's so many programs out there now too. You don't even have to figure it out. You could get an online coach or an online program that tells you, okay, you're going to go in there today. You're going to do chest press. You're going to do
Right.
flies, and you just go step by step, and you don't even have to think about that part of it, which makes things so much easier now these days. So it's just, I think it's that
It's true.
confidence and, right, just getting over that. Like if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah. For me, I read somewhere that, at our, we're in our 50s, or I am at least, by the age 70, if I want to lift a 20 pound, rolling suitcase carry on into the overhead, right? I need to lift 80 to 100 pounds now because at 70 and 80, you lose muscle mass. And if you go into your older years in good shape, you know, you'll have the ability to do that.
Absolutely. And it's so much harder to build muscle too at our age. So that's why it's
Hmm.
like you said, you're losing muscle. It's harder to build muscle at this stage. And I think too with women, it really is a whole different mindset and shift with not fearing carbs, eating to fuel your body, and lifting heavy, and those are things that we were never taught. So it's such a different way of training than what we
Hmm.
knew in our 20s and 30s when our metabolism was in, full gear. But that metabolism slows down, muscle growth is slow. So you really kind of have to put in that work if you want to be that healthy grandma showing up for her grandkids.
Exactly. Lori, this has been a great conversation. You're a true leader and an inspiration to a lot of people by, all of your pivots, reinventions, what you do with your workouts on social media. So thank you. I appreciate your time and keep killing
Thanks, Howie. I appreciate it so much. I could talk about the gym all day.
it.
But it was
This has
awesome
been
talking to you. Thanks for having me on.
same same here. This has been the Operator Mindset with Howie Zales and our guest Lori Sims. Stay tuned for our next episode. Thanks.